The ancient sea carves pathways where life can travel, hide, and return. The Red Sea does not reveal itself all at once. It offers one living detail at a time. The sea feeds even the quietest forms, carrying life through invisible currents. The sea teaches movement through rhythm, and the Red Sea Reef answers with life. Beneath the surface of this ancient ocean, the Red Sea begins to reveal a hidden world. In the sea, awareness moves faster than sound, passing through a school like light. Around a single coral tower, the sea gathers shelter, food, movement, and risk. The sea feeds even the quietest forms, carrying life through invisible currents. Even in the brightest hour, the Red Sea keeps many of its lives unseen. Every ray of light touches an ocean realm shaped by time, heat, salt, and life. Near the reef, the sea is never still. Every surface becomes a place to live. In the sea, awareness moves faster than sound, passing through a school like light. The closer we look into this sea, the more worlds within worlds begin to appear. Here, the ocean has built a living kingdom from stone, sunlight, and patience. The Red Sea is not empty water. It is an ancient ocean filled with quiet movement. Each hidden opening in this sea is a doorway to another small life. The journey begins at the reef, but the Red Sea still holds far more than the eye can see. Beyond the reef, the sea opens into a silence older than memory. In this ocean, even the smallest motion carries the memory of life. Each hidden opening in this sea is a doorway to another small life. Around a single coral, the ancient sea carves pathways where life can travel, hide, and return. The Red Sea does not reveal itself all at once. It offers one living detail at a time. The sea feeds even the quietest forms, carrying life through invisible currents. The sea teaches movement through rhythm, and the Red Sea Reef answers with life. Beneath the surface of this ancient ocean, the Red Sea begins to reveal a hidden world. In the sea, awareness moves faster than sound, passing through a school like light. Around a single coral tower, the sea gathers shelter, food, movement, and risk. The sea feeds even the quietest forms, carrying life through invisible currents. Even in the brightest hour, the Red Sea keeps many of its lives unseen. Every ray of light touches an ocean realm shaped by time, heat, salt, and life. Near the reef, the sea is never still. Every surface becomes a place to live. In the sea, awareness moves faster than sound, passing through a school like light. The closer we look into this sea, the more worlds within worlds begin to appear. Here, the ocean has built a living kingdom from stone, sunlight, and patience. The Red Sea is not empty water. It is an ancient ocean filled with quiet movement. Each hidden opening in this sea is a doorway to another small life. The journey begins at the reef, but the Red Sea still holds far more than the eye can see. Beyond the reef, the sea opens into a silence older than memory. In this ocean, even the smallest motion carries the memory of life. Each hidden opening in this sea is a doorway to another small life. Around a single coral tower, the sea gathers shelter, food, movement, and risk. As the light changes, the ancient Red Sea begins to show a different face. Deeper below the surface, the seal's hidden life becomes harder to see, but impossible to ignore. The ocean floor appears still, yet beneath its calm surface, life is already awake. This ancient ocean hides its wonders in layers of color, shadow, and silence. This is the doorway into the Red Sea's ancient hidden kingdom. Deeper below the surface, the seal's hidden life becomes harder to see, but impossible to ignore. At the edge of the reef, the ocean breathes through thousands of tiny bodies. Above, the sun burns bright. Below, the ocean keeps its hidden life protected. Every crack in this ocean reef may shelter a life unseen by the passing eye. Ahead, the sea will open into a hidden kingdom where every color shelters life. In the ancient ocean, survival often begins with knowing where to hide. The first gate of the Red Sea is open. Beyond it, hidden life is. The reef is only the beginning. Beyond it, the ocean falls into deeper secrets. Here, the ancient ocean divides the world between safety, hunger, and the unknown. The ocean current writes invisible paths through this living architecture. From a distance, the ocean looks peaceful. Up close, it is alive in every direction. Some forms in this ocean grow slowly, carrying the marks of decades beneath the waves. The Red Sea is an ocean of thresholds, where light fades and mystery begins. Color is not decoration in this ocean. It is language, warning, disguise, and attraction. Across this ancient ocean floor, every open space leads back to shelter. The smallest creatures in this ocean help build one of Earth's most complex worlds. When the ocean gathers life into one motion, the reef seems to breathe. The ancient ocean hides many of its stories where sunlight can barely reach. These living structures turn the ocean into a maze of refuge and opportunity. In the ocean's sheltered corners, hidden life waits for the right moment to move. The farther we look into this ocean, the more ancient and alive it becomes. Some lives in this ocean are measured not by distance, but by the safety of a single crack. The reef is the memory of the ocean, built slowly by countless living hands. From above, it is only water. From below, the ocean becomes a universe. The current feeds the reef, and the reef gives the ocean a place for life to gather. Along these walls, the ancient ocean rises like a living cliff. In this ocean, danger and shelter can exist within the same delicate form. Every passage through the reef leads deeper into the ocean's hidden design. Life in this ocean is arranged between the brightness above and the shadows below. The ocean teaches movement through rhythm, and the reef answers with life. In this sea, a shadow is enough to make hidden life vanish. The reef reaches into the sea, and the sea answers with light and food. Changing color, changing shape, some creatures turn the Red Sea into a living illusion. Every meter of this seafloor contains a hidden story waiting in silence. The sea can hide a body beneath almost nothing. Beyond the first gate, the Red Sea opens into a kingdom built entirely by life. Inside the smallest cracks of the Red Sea, hidden life begins to appear. Sometimes the Red Sea reveals only evidence, not the life itself. What appears solid is alive, fragile, and constantly changing beneath the sea.
Some creatures in this sea survive by becoming almost invisible.
In this sea, every branch of coral becomes shelter for hundreds of fragile lives. But beyond these hidden chambers, the Red Sea begins to move with greater force. The Red Sea teaches caution to even the smallest creatures. The coral kingdom of the Red Sea is not silent. It is alive with constant motion. The Red Sea sand is not empty. It is a thin veil over secret lives. The smallest spaces in the reef can mean the difference between life and danger. Inside the reef, the Red Sea builds homes above, below, and between. Even before night, the hidden corners of the Red Sea already belong to secret lives. The hidden life has shown how the Red Sea protects the small. Now the moving sea will reveal the balance of survival. Layer by layer, the sea has shaped this reef into a living city. Spines, shells, shadows, and cracks all become tools for survival in this sea.
The smallest defenders in the Red Sea guard doors no larger than a shell.
In this sea, stillness can be the strongest form of protection. Hidden life in this sea is not rare. It is simply easy to miss. The Red Sea builds diversity, not with one shape, but with thousands. The sea current connects every coral, every fish, and every hidden mouth. Every cave in the Red Sea reef may hold a life waiting beyond the light. Across the sand, the Red Sea leaves clues of lives that move unseen. Beneath the visible reef, the Red Sea holds another reef of secrets. Soft corals move with the sea, turning the current into a slow underwater dance. In one small corner of the Red Sea, many lives can share the same shelter. Behind the bright reef face, the Red Sea keeps quieter chambers of life. Some hidden lives are so delicate that the sea itself nearly erases them. The sea can hide a body beneath almost nothing.
To understand this sea, we must look below the obvious beauty.
A single coral patch is only one room in the vast palace of the Red Sea. Here, hidden service becomes survival, and the sea rewards patience. Among the corals, color becomes a way to find food, avoid danger, and belong. The deeper the crevice, the more the Red Sea hides from view. The builders of this sea are small, but together they create a world. The Coral Kingdom is not only shelter, it is a place of exchange. In the Red Sea, a predator can look exactly like the reef itself. Above the reef, the sea gathers movement into living clouds. Camouflage turns the seafloor into both a hiding place and a hunting ground. Small armor, slow steps, and perfect disguise help life cross the Red Sea floor. The Coral Kingdom stretches across the seafloor, connected by hidden paths of sand and current. The reef forms chambers large enough for entire communities to gather. Even the open sand between corals belongs to the rhythm of the sea. Between the coral walls, the sea creates roads for life to move safely. Inside the tunnel, the Red Sea becomes a hidden world within the reef. Some hidden lives wait in darkness, watching the sea from a single opening. Some corals in this sea grow like maps of time, marked by years of quiet survival. The higher the coral climbs, the more the sea fills it with life. Every surface in the Red Sea can become a feeding ground, a shelter, or a hiding place. Even in the shadows of the Red Sea, strange partnerships quietly continue. At the edge of the Coral Kingdom, the sea begins to change again. For small creatures, the reef is a maze built by the sea for survival. Near the crest, sunlight feeds the reef, and the Red Sea becomes dazzling. In the Coral Kingdom, danger and protection often grow side by side. Shade becomes shelter in the Red Sea, and every ledge can hide a life. A single hole in the Red Sea reef can become an entire home. This is the Coral Kingdom at its brightest, a living crown beneath the sea. The Red Sea reveals its secret lives only for a moment, then hides them again. But beneath the colors of the Red Sea, even smaller hidden lives are waiting to be found. The reef changes with every few meters of sea, revealing new colors and new forms. Even feeding becomes part of the reef's rhythm, shaping the sea one bite at a time. Even the sand itself can open and release life into the sea. The Coral Kingdom has shown its beauty. Now the Red Sea will reveal the lives hidden within its cracks. Inside the coral thicket, the sea becomes a maze only small bodies can enter. The hidden life of the Red Sea often begins below the surface of the sand. In this sea, intelligence can wear the color of stone. The Red Sea hides its most delicate life in places protected from the open water. The Red Sea gives some creatures not only shelter, but a way to disappear. Here, the reef rises like a living wall built by the sea itself. A borrowed shell becomes a moving fortress across the Red Sea sand. The current brings food, and the coral kingdom reaches into the sea to receive it. What looks like dust in the sea can become nourishment for an entire reef. On the seafloor, slow creatures quietly recycle the reef's forgotten fragments. The Red Sea Reef is crowded, yet every creature finds its own place. Some lives remain hidden beneath stones, touching the sea without fully leaving shelter. The Red Sea Reef is full of doors that open and close in silence. Beyond one coral garden, the sea opens into another, and the kingdom continues.
Beauty in the Red Sea can also carry warning.
Near the seafloor, smaller lives keep close to the border between sand and stone. In the shadows, the sea hides forms both graceful and dangerous. The higher the reef rises, the more life gathers in the moving seawater.
Transparency is another disguise, making life shimmer like the sea itself. A single coral island can become an entire world within the sea.
Hidden chambers inside the reef make the sea safer for the smallest lives. Where light grows weak, the Red Sea shelters colors the open reef rarely sees. The current organizes the sea, guiding food, movement, and survival.
Some of the sea's strangest beauty moves only a few centimeters at a time.
Some fish travel the reef like a herd across an underwater landscape.
In the Red Sea, hidden life can be smaller than a finger and richer than a jewel. The best disguise in this sea is to become part of the reef's shape. In this sea, even care and cleaning become part of the reef's hidden order. The coral kingdom is held together by countless small exchanges. Where the sea moves gently, small lives hold on and become almost impossible to see. On the Red Sea floor, partnership can turn a fragile burrow into a safer home. Not all life here is bright coral. The sea also shelters quiet forms that filter and clean. One digs, one watches, and together they read the sea for danger. The reef is architecture, and the sea fills every passage with motion. Under the coral roof, the Red Sea keeps another layer of hidden life. Tiny filters open into the sea, gathering food from water that never stops moving. Light returns, and the coral kingdom expands again across the sea. Fast-moving schools carry energy from one part of the reef to another. The coral kingdom is beautiful, but the sea has built it with defenses. To live here, every creature must read the sea and respond instantly. Some coral shapes create quiet rooms where the sea becomes calmer. Across the reef plain, each coral island offers safety in the open sea. The reef gives the sea a place where small lives can vanish instantly.
When the coral kingdom awakens, the Red Sea seems to bloom with fish.
Some hidden lives do not chase food. They cast invisible nets into the sea. Not every creature in the Red Sea reveals its full form to the open water.
The best refuge in the Red Sea can be another living body.
Even fierce creatures in this sea understand the value of retreat.
The more closely we study the Red Sea, the more hidden lives begin to emerge from the reef.
The hidden world of the Red Sea does not end at one crack. It continues deeper into the reef.
Within a hole no wider than a finger, the sea can hide a fierce and intelligent hunter.
Many hunters of the Red Sea begin as hidden faces inside the reef.
In the Red Sea, even a nearly invisible thread can mean survival.
Some hidden fish of the Red Sea look less like swimmers and more like pieces of the reef. In this sea, disguise can become armor, shelter, and identity at once. Some creatures in this sea survive by wearing the reef itself.
Caution is one of the first instincts learned in the Red Sea. In the Red Sea, camouflage can be built one fragment at a time.
Patience is the only way to see certain lives in this sea. The Red Sea allows some creatures to vanish by looking like everything around them. Hidden life in this sea is not only survival, it is also protection of the next generation. Partnership on the Red Sea floor can turn a fragile hole into a defended home. Some hidden lives of this sea move like living patterns across the reef.
On the sand of the Red Sea, stillness becomes a form of concealment.
Transparency lets some lives of the Red Sea become part of the water around them. A future reef community can begin as tiny dots beneath a coral ledge.
Some creatures of the Red Sea become invisible by becoming almost flat.
One works, one watches, and together they read the sea for danger.
Some fish of the Red Sea choose the cave as their daylight shelter. To survive here, a body must sometimes move like the sea itself.
The Red Sea is filled with small doors that open only when the water feels safe.
The Red Sea can hide an entire body beneath a veil of sand.
The Red Sea often hides one secret beneath another. Some hidden lives do not chase food. They cast invisible nets into the sea.
Even the youngest hidden lives in this sea learn to disappear.
Among the broken pieces of the reef, the Red Sea shelters its youngest hidden lives.
Stillness inside the cave is part of the rhythm of this sea. A tiny tunnel in the Red Sea can hold one of the reef's most alert hunters. In this sea, disappearance can happen faster than a heartbeat.
The Red Sea rewards those who can become lines, shadows, and stems.
Even the softest shapes rising from the sand
can belong to hidden life. The sand of the Red Sea can bloom with lives that vanish the moment danger approaches. Every small opening in the Red Sea reef suggests another hidden story. A simple hole in the Red Sea sand can become a fortress for a watchful parent. In this sea, some creatures survive by copying the movement of the reef. One above the Pacific Ocean, a superstorm turns the sea into a vast field of power. Deeper inside the Pacific Reef, the storm turns the coral world into a fortress of survival.
From above, the storm appears almost alive, shaping the surface of the ocean with relentless force. For the smallest fish, every coral branch becomes a wall against the moving sea. At the surface of the Pacific, wind, rain, and waves merge into one moving body. Yet beneath this chaos, another world is waiting in the sea below.
The storm reaches the bottom as moving sand, and the seafloor becomes a place of constant change.
The superstorm rules the surface, but the ocean beneath it is beginning to respond. To understand this storm, we must follow it below the waves.
When the Pacific grows restless, the strongest shelter is often found beneath the reef itself.
Below the storm, the sea is still restless, filled with noise, motion, and pressure.
The same storm that threatens the reef also sends food through its hidden corridors.
The superstorm above reshapes the first layers of the ocean, stirring everything in its reach.
Inside the storm-dark reef, the old balance of hunter and hidden prey continues.
Even before the reef appears, life in the Pacific Ocean is already adapting to the force above.
Beneath the raging surface, the hidden life of the Pacific is just beginning to come into view.
This reef is not only surviving the Pacific storm, it is using every shape, shelter, and current to stay alive.
Farther below the storm, the Pacific begins to reveal the lives that endure beneath the violence above. Within the coral, the smallest spaces become the strongest protection.
The reef is not a single shelter, but thousands of shelters joined together by the sea. The ocean floor is not untouched by the storm. It feels the force as current, pressure, and shifting light.
When the storm presses down from above, even the smallest fish know where safety begins. Some fish survive the moving water by holding still in the right place.
Every surge from above sends another signal through the reef. The reef becomes a fortress, and every crevice in the sea becomes a refuge.
On the seafloor, survival can mean staying low, staying still, and letting the storm pass overhead.
In the sand, the storm turns every open doorway into a risk. Beneath the superstorm, even sight becomes uncertain. Each species answers the storm in its own way, anchoring, hiding, or yielding to the current. The storm can be felt as a rhythm in the water, and the reef responds to every shift. Not every survivor moves quickly. Some endure by holding their place.
Even in the middle of a superstorm, the ocean still contains places of relative calm.
Even fragile forms can become shelter when the ocean begins to move with force.
Some creatures do not flee the storm. They wait inside the reef and let the sea bring the world to them.
Behind the moving coral, the reef hides quiet rooms for those small enough to enter. Below the storming Pacific, a hidden world is already adapting, enduring, and waiting for the next surge from above. The coral reef beneath the Pacific storm is a maze of pressure, shelter, and living response.
Beneath the Pacific storm, the reef becomes a shelter shaped by pressure, current, and instinct.
Inside this reef maze, every creature depends on the shape of the ocean around it.
When the water grows stronger, the reef becomes a shelter of narrow spaces.
Every branch of coral becomes a narrow refuge when the ocean above is in chaos.
The reef wall becomes a living shield against the restless sea.
In rough water, even a short crossing becomes a decision. On the seafloor, the safest creature may be the one that almost disappears. The storm changes the seafloor, but some lives survive by becoming almost invisible. Under the storm, every open crossing becomes a test of timing. For some creatures beneath the waves, stillness is the strongest defense. The hidden animals of the reef survive the storm by holding to the ocean's strongest edges. The storm turns the coral chamber into both a hiding place and a feeding ground. The reef does not fight every force. It bends, absorbs, and waits.
Even during the storm, the small services of the reef continue in hidden corners.
Even a storm can carry food through the sea, turning danger into opportunity. The storm changes the water, but the ancient balance of the reef remains. In the shelter of the reef, hunters and hunted share the same storm. Every shelter in the reef belongs to a larger system of pressure, hunger, and protection.
Below the superstorm, the Pacific is not silent. It is a living world responding to pressure from above.
The reef has become a living refuge, but the Pacific storm is still pushing deeper through the sea.
The Pacific storm is still reaching downward, turning every coral corridor into a test of survival. The storm above continues to press into the sea, and every hidden life below must answer. Inside the reef, the smallest spaces become the safest rooms in the ocean. In the smallest openings of the ocean floor, survival is measured in seconds. Tiny creatures beneath the waves read the current through touch before they dare to move. The reef is built from countless hiding places, each one shaped by the sea. Beneath the storm, the ocean floor opens and closes like a restless, hidden world. When the water changes, cooperation becomes another form of shelter. The young lives of the reef gather tightly when the sea becomes unpredictable. When the sea becomes unstable, even the smallest partnership must work faster. The reef holds many kinds of strength, from gripping arms to hidden claws.
Some creatures survive the storm by becoming part of the reef itself.
In rough water, disguise is not only a trick, it is a way to endure. The storm turns danger into food, but only for those quick enough to risk the open sea. Even the moving corals become shelter when the storm pushes through the sea. In the storm-dark reef, camouflage becomes a silent form of patience. The storm changes the rhythm of the reef, but the ancient tension between hunter and hidden prey remains. The reef guides them through the storm, one protected passage at a time. Beneath the Pacific superstorm, every hidden creature becomes part of one living response. Beneath the Pacific superstorm, the coral reef survives as one connected refuge of movement, pressure, and life. Below the Pacific superstorm, the sea becomes a test of shelter, instinct, and endurance. Inside the reef, survival is shared by every creature that can find shelter from the moving sea. In unstable water, moving together becomes the safest shape in the ocean.
The storm makes the open water dangerous, and the reef answers with hidden rooms.
What looks like a wall is really a crowded world holding itself against the current. The storm changes the water, and every fish answers with motion. For larger animals, the same current that threatens the small can become a path through the sea. On the storm-dark seafloor, hiding can mean becoming part of the sand. The ocean covers some lives so completely that survival becomes almost invisible. Near the seafloor, survival depends less on speed and more on holding ground. Even larger, calmer lives of the Pacific choose shelter when the sea above becomes violent. Beneath the ledge, many small lives wait together while the storm moves above them. The storm carries food through the reef, but every meal must be taken between pulses of danger. The storm brings danger, but it also carries food through the hidden corridors of the sea. In the shadowed reef, the octopus survives by reading the sea through touch. Every opportunity beneath the storm lasts only until the next surge arrives. The reef holds both refuge and danger, and the storm brings them closer together. Inside the reef, the storm is measured through pressure, shadow, and the behavior of every neighbor. Beneath the raging Pacific, every creature is connected by the same force moving through the sea. Under the Pacific superstorm, the reef becomes one living refuge, where every hidden life depends on the sea around it. The Pacific reef holds its life close, turning every surface into protection beneath the storm. Below the storm, the Pacific Ocean is not broken, it is alive, adjusting with every pulse of the sea. The reef becomes a sanctuary, holding fragile lives against the force above. The smallest fish survive by trusting the narrow architecture of the reef. Inside the reef wall, the sea hides entire lives smaller than a shadow. For the youngest lives in the ocean, survival begins inside the smallest spaces. The seafloor changes with every pulse, hiding and revealing its smallest doors. Predator and prey share the same shelter when the sea becomes stronger than either of them. The storm writes its force through the water, and the reef answers with movement. In the smallest partnerships of the ocean, warning and work become survival. Beneath the coral ledge, different lives share one shelter against the moving sea. Even beneath a superstorm, the ocean hides quiet spaces where life can wait. Some lives survive by moving with the sea, and others survive by becoming almost invisible. The storm brings food through the reef, but every brief meal comes with risk. This hidden world beneath the Pacific storm is built from instinct, shelter, and connection. The octopus reads the storm through the stone, waiting for the sea to loosen its grip. Even in the storm, the reef keeps its ancient balance between patience and escape. Above, the storm still rules the waves. Below, the ocean's hidden life continues to endure. Beneath the Pacific superstorm, the reef survives because every hidden life has found a place within the sea. This is only the first descent beneath the Pacific superstorm. Deeper in the reef, every creature must find its place against the pressure of the sea.
The first descent continues, and the Pacific Ocean reveals that survival beneath a storm is never still.
Deeper inside the Pacific Reef, shelter is not one place, but a whole living structure shaped by the sea. For the smallest fish, the reef becomes a maze designed for survival. Far below the waves, even light from the storm becomes part of the reef's warning system. The storm reaches downward not as wind, but as pressure, current, and moving sand. Every surface of the reef holds smaller lives, waiting for the sea to calm. The sand beneath the storm is never still. It hides and reveals life with every passing current. In the smallest homes of the sea, partnership can become the difference between danger and survival. Every hidden creature has its own answer to the same force moving through the ocean. In this unstable sea, even the smallest home must be repaired against the storm. Under the ledge, the reef becomes a shared shelter for many different kinds of life. Under the storm, the distance between shelters becomes a challenge measured in heartbeats. The storm pushes food through the reef, and every hidden creature must decide when to risk the open water. The octopus survives by becoming part of the reef while the storm passes above. The same current that threatens the reef also carries food through its hidden passages. In the darkness of the reef, the octopus becomes both witness and survivor. Beneath the Pacific storm, no life stands alone. Every creature is tied to the shape of the sea around it. The storm may disturb the water, but the reef still holds its old rules of waiting and distance. The first descent has only opened the storm's hidden world. Deeper in the reef, the Pacific will reveal how life endures under pressure.
Beneath the Pacific superstorm, the coral terrace becomes one living refuge, where every hidden life depends on every shape around it.
The Pacific storm keeps pushing through the reef, and every passage becomes a place of decision. Deeper inside the Pacific Reef, the storm becomes a hidden pressure moving through every passage of the sea. Inside the coral, the youngest lives wait for the moving sea to give them a safer moment. The ocean floor changes moment by moment, reshaped by a storm that never touches it directly. The reef wall holds life by giving each creature a different grip on survival. For the smallest reef walkers, survival means holding fast to anything the sea cannot easily move. The reef bends and holds at the same time, giving each creature a different way to endure. Some lives survive the storm by allowing the sea to hide them completely. Stillness becomes a language beneath the storm. disturbed water, the safest path is often the one closest to the reef. Under the coral ledge, many forms of life share one small pocket of safety. Inside the reef, patience becomes another form of strength. Food moves through the storm, but only the quick and cautious can reach it. The octopus answers the storm not by fleeing, but by becoming part of the seafloor. The octopus waits with the patience of the reef itself. Even in danger, the storm delivers food, and the reef must seize each brief chance. Even as the storm moves through the sea, the reef keeps its ancient tension alive. Beneath the Pacific storm, every creature survives by using the reef in its own way. Beneath the Pacific superstorm, the reef survives as a connected world of shelter, hunger, pressure, and patience.
The first descent moves deeper still, toward the places where the Pacific hides its strongest survivors.
Here, beneath the storm, the Pacific Ocean hides a calmer chamber where life gathers against the pressure. The Pacific storm keeps pressing through the reef, and the sea turns every corridor into a living test. Inside the smallest branches, fragile lives find shelter from a force far larger than themselves. Even when the storm weakens below, the seafloor still carries the memory of its force. The reef wall is crowded with lives that survive by holding close to the sea's strongest edges. In the smallest homes of the ocean, survival is built through warning, work, and trust. The young fish of the reef turn coral into shelter, waiting for the sea above to calm. The sand beneath the storm is always changing, hiding the smallest doors almost as soon as they appear. Some creatures survive the Pacific storm not by speed, but by patience and contact with the reef. In this unstable sea, even a tiny home must be defended again and again. Under the ledge, the reef becomes a shared shelter for lives that would never gather in calm water. Inside the storm-dark reef, patience and shelter become as powerful as movement. The storm brings food through the reef, but every chance to feed is surrounded by danger. The octopus moves only when the current allows, reading the storm through every touch. The octopus survives by reading every pulse of the sea through the stone beneath it. The storm brings risk into the sea, but it also sends food through every protected hollow. Within the same shelter, the reef holds fear, patience, hunger, and protection. Beneath the Pacific superstorm, every creature becomes part of one living system shaped by the sea. Beneath the Pacific superstorm, the reef endures because every hidden life has found a way to belong to the moving sea.
The first descent continues, and the Pacific leads us from shelter into another hidden passage beneath the storm.
The Pacific reef continues to hold its life close as the storm keeps pressing through the sea. Beyond the sheltered basin, the Pacific Ocean becomes restless again, forcing every creature to choose its path. For the smallest fish, the safest world is the one too narrow for danger to enter. Here, the storm is felt not as thunder, but as moving sand and shifting pressure. The reef wall becomes a crowded shelter, each small surface holding another life against the storm. For the smallest reef walkers, the sea becomes a force to hold against. The seafloor beneath the storm is never fixed, It changes with every breath of the ocean. In rough water, the school survives by becoming one shape moving through the sea. In the smallest shelter, teamwork becomes a defense against the moving sea. Under the ledge, many small lives share the same thin line of safety. Even under the storm, the old balance of the reef remains. The storm turns the reef into a place of sudden danger and sudden food. The octopus does not resist the Pacific storm. It becomes part of the reef until the sea allows movement again. The storm sends danger through the ocean, but it also carries food into hidden places. The octopus waits inside the reef, changing with the sea instead of fighting it. Inside the same reef, hunger and shelter wait side by side. Beneath the Pacific superstorm, every hidden life is connected by the same moving water.
Beneath the Pacific superstorm, the reef remains alive, because every hidden creature has found shelter inside the moving ocean.
The first descent continues, and deeper beneath the storm, the Pacific hides still more lives waiting in the dark. The Pacific Reef keeps drawing its life inward, turning every chamber into protection beneath the storm. In the storm-dark sea, camouflage becomes a quiet shield against both current and danger.
When the open sea becomes unstable, the smallest gaps in the reef become the safest world. The reef wall holds its secrets tightly, giving each small creature a place to endure. Some lives endure by letting the ocean cover them.
The reef becomes shelter, anchor, and warning system all at once.
Beneath the storm, even the sand becomes a moving shelter and a moving threat. The storm brings chaos into the sea, but within chaos, food appears. In this hidden corner of the ocean, survival is built through shared warning and careful work. Under the ledge, different lives share one shelter, because the moving sea leaves no room for pride. The safest path through the storm is the one written by the reef itself. Inside the rock, the octopus becomes another shadow of the Pacific Reef.
The octopus survives by becoming part of the reef until the sea gives permission to move.
Predators wait, prey hide, and the storm moves between them. Beneath the Pacific superstorm, every life is part of the same underwater struggle.
The first descent continues, and beyond the reef valley, the Pacific begins to reveal a deeper hidden world. Beneath the Pacific superstorm, the coral chamber becomes one living refuge, holding every hidden life inside the moving ocean.
The storm changes the light, but life beneath it never stops. Every turn is answered by thousands, and the school becomes one moving body.
Beyond the reef, the Pacific opens into a larger world, where survival depends on movement.
In open water, safety is no longer a hiding place, but a shared direction. The deeper we follow the Pacific beneath the superstorm, the more its hidden greatness continues to unfold. Above them, the storm moves the surface. Below it, the fish move as one. Far below the storm, the Pacific is shaped not only by waves, but by rivers of water flowing inside the ocean itself. In the open Pacific, the storm hides danger until it moves. Every small movement spreads through thousands of lives, like a pulse through the ocean. A single change of direction can protect thousands of lives. The Pacific writes living geometry across the open water. Not every giant fights the storm. Some pass through it with ancient calm. Beneath the moving school, the ray follows deeper currents of the storm cannot fully command. The strongest travelers waste nothing, allowing the Pacific itself to carry them. In the open sea, every creature reads the storm differently. Even the gentlest drifters become part of the great motion beneath the storm. Far from the reef, the Pacific reveals predators that travel with the rhythm of the sea rather than the violence of the storm. The Pacific gathers giants not in one place, but across every depth. The school becomes a floating sky beneath the storming sea. The strongest hunters conserve energy, letting the ocean work with them instead of against them. And many hunters follow the same current, each searching without disturbing the balance of the sea. The farther we descend beneath the Pacific, the quieter the storm becomes, yet the ocean grows even more powerful. Even beneath a superstorm, light continues to guide the hidden world below. Invisible life feeds the entire Pacific, one drifting current at a time. Thousands separate for a moment, only to become one once again. Every movement spreads instantly across the school, creating order from countless individual lives. Close to the bottom, larger wings carry life through currents that never stop moving. Different worlds share the same ocean, separated only by depth. Above the Pacific, the storm shapes the light. Below, the light reshapes the ocean. The Pacific reveals itself in layers, each filled with life responding to the same sea. Some giants travel not with force, but with extraordinary grace. Beyond these waters, even greater travelers of the Pacific are already approaching. The Pacific rewards patience, allowing the largest gentle giants to thrive on the smallest drifting life. Far from the reef, the Pacific becomes an endless highway of movement. Every depth of the Pacific carries its own travelers moving in opposite directions. Order survives because every individual responds to the same invisible current. Even the softest creatures become part of the Pacific's immense design. The Pacific Ocean is not one habitat, but countless living worlds stacked together beneath the storm. The storm changes the light, but not the discipline of the sea. Beyond the last blue light, the Pacific still guards a world that few eyes have ever seen. Power in the Pacific often arrives without speed or noise. The Pacific now leaves the familiar world behind and begins its descent into silence.
Every powerful swimmer measures its strength against the sea instead of fighting it.
Even here, where the sea appears empty, life fills every current. Closer to the bottom, the rhythm of the storm becomes slower and deeper. Even in open water, larger creatures create quiet places for smaller lives. The storm still exists above, but its voice grows quieter with every meter of depth. The Pacific is never empty. Every layer carries another hidden community. Hidden rivers inside the Pacific shape journeys that no surface wave can reveal. The deeper sea replaces speed with patience and light with quiet transparency. The deeper we travel into the Pacific, the more the storm reveals a world united by motion rather than fear. The smallest lights often guide the longest journeys beneath the Pacific. The Pacific Ocean becomes a living sky beneath the storm, filled with countless lives moving together. Life becomes less crowded, but no less extraordinary. Each individual follows simple instincts, yet together they create impossible beauty. What appears to be empty water is actually an endless rain feeding the deep Pacific. Ahead lies the threshold, where daylight gives way to another world.
Above, the storm reshapes the light. Below, the ocean reshapes itself.
Beyond this fading light, the Pacific keeps secrets that have waited millions of years to be seen.
Some of the Pacific's greatest travelers appear almost like silent shadows beneath the living sea. Strength beneath the Pacific is measured by calm precision rather than speed.
Here, the Pacific begins to leave the world of sunlight behind. The storm still exists above, but its power is now remembered only through the currents. Every giant in the Pacific carries its own small community. Invisible rivers continue their journey long after the surface has forgotten the storm. The Pacific Ocean is built in layers, each one alive with its own hidden rhythm. The deeper Pacific introduces life that seems almost made from light itself. Even the smallest drifting life continues the story of the Pacific. Together, thousands of small lives become one of the ocean's greatest wonders. With every meter downward, life becomes quieter, but never disappears. Beyond these endless waters, the greatest giants of the Pacific are waiting beneath the storm. The Pacific is shaped by currents hidden far below the reach of wind. Beneath the Pacific superstorm, the ocean's largest travelers move with a calm older than the waves. Some lives remain only as passing shadows until the deep sea chooses to reveal them. Even the storm above cannot hurry the deep rhythm of a giant. Around a giant, the Pacific seems to slow down and expand. Ahead lies the threshold, where the familiar ocean ends and the abyss begins. The largest life and the smallest drifting bodies belong to the same ocean current. The Pacific has guided us beyond the reach of sunlight. What waits below belongs to the oldest and most mysterious kingdom of the sea. The Pacific now reaches the quiet frontier between daylight and the deep unknown. Some giants of the Pacific are so vast they seem to belong to the sea itself. The storm commands the surface, but the deep Pacific keeps its own ancient order. Some of the ocean's longest travelers are not single animals, but entire living colonies. Together, the giants travel as if guided by memories carried through the sea. The deeper Pacific reveals beauty that seems almost impossible to notice from the surface. From surface chaos to deep calm, the Pacific holds many worlds at once. Light grows weaker, yet life continues to create its own quiet brilliance. Every falling particle becomes part of the deep Pacific's endless cycle of life. One movement from a giant can ripple through countless smaller lives. The surface storm now feels like a distant memory, carried only by the ocean itself. The open Pacific beneath the storm is not ruled by one creature, but by the movement of all life together. Silence becomes the dominant voice as the Pacific prepares for the abyss. The Pacific Ocean beneath the storm is one connected living world, where every current carries countless lives. Invisible boundaries divide the Pacific more completely than any coastline. Not every giant beneath the Pacific storm is a hunter. Some travel quietly through clouds of life. The deepest travelers reveal themselves only for a moment before returning to darkness.
Even the largest travelers move with remarkable gentleness through the open sea.
The scale of the Pacific is best understood when a giant passes silently above.
The Pacific no longer feels like an ocean of waves, but an ocean of silence.
The Pacific holds giants that fly through water with the grace of birds. Every drifting particle carries the story of life deeper into the Pacific. The currents shape every journey, from the smallest fish to the largest wings. Some of the Pacific's most extraordinary lives exist only through perfect cooperation. The ocean creates patterns that no single creature could ever make alone. Listen. As sunlight disappears, delicate beauty becomes even more remarkable. Nothing in the Pacific truly stands still. Even silence continues to move. The world above still exists, but it no longer defines the ocean below. The Pacific is sculpted by rivers hidden inside the sea. The farther we descend, the more every living shape becomes a rare discovery. The deepest Pacific reveals itself only through brief glimpses and patient observation. Now the Pacific opens the door to the deepest realm, where life has evolved beyond the reach of the sun. The Pacific Ocean now reaches the threshold where sunlight surrenders completely to the deep sea. Even in apparent emptiness, the Pacific Ocean is constantly nourishing life. The strongest rivers of the Pacific Ocean are hidden beneath its surface. Some of the sea's most delicate creatures shine brightest where daylight almost disappears. Cooperation becomes one of the oldest survival strategies in the Pacific Ocean. The storm above has become only a memory carried by the sea.
The deeper the Pacific Ocean becomes, the more precious every living encounter feels.
The Pacific Ocean never reveals all of its inhabitants at once. Beyond this final darkness, the Pacific Ocean enters a kingdom illuminated not by the sun, but by life itself. For the first time, the Pacific Ocean is no longer illuminated by the sky above, but by the life within it.